Hey guys, Eddie Case here on another basement project outside my hometown in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I've got a job that we're starting this morning. It's got some really good obstacles that we have to work around. I mean, when I say obstacles are never really good, but it's really good for you because I'm going to show you how I'm going to go around these, what turned into be about 11 obstacles. All right, I'm going to show you this basement completely unfinished. Show you the 11 obstacles that I'm faced with here. You may have some of these exact same obstacles down in your basement, so listen up, watch this video and study it. It'll probably give you the answer that you've been looking for if you have one of these obstacles, the answer on how to go about working around it and making it look professional. Okay, these are some good obstacles, so I'm going to spin the camera around as usual. We're going to take a walk around. I'm going to go over the 11 obstacles quickly, then we'll come back and we'll show you these obstacles with the framing done all around them, show you how we framed around them. Even some of these obstacles we're even going to relocate before we frame around them. We'll talk about that some more. And then finally I'll show you the finished product, the basement completely done, and how these obstacles were worked around in their final form. I think you'll be amazed when you see how nice it turns out. These are some ugly obstacles that they're going to scare most people. Most folks that are planning on finishing their basement themselves are not going to really know what to do here. They're going to be guessing at it and probably going to do some things that aren't going to look professional to work around them. So I'm going to show you the professional way to do it. All right, so let's get started here with obstacle number one. Okay, obstacle number one on this basement is going to be the stairway. And now you're looking at the stairway wall right across from me here with that back of that light switch right there. Take a walk around here and we'll show you the way it looks now. It's kind of dark, looks like a hallway coming down there. Not a very attractive entrance into the basement. What we're going to do over on this side is we're going to be taking out that wall up to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth step, completely out, and we're going to be putting in a banister rail system with some spindles, and we're going to open that up, and that's going to take a lot of this daylight over here and send it into the stairway. It's going to open it up and make it look light and airy and beautiful. All right, so obstacle number one is the closed off stairway that the builder put in. We're going to be opening that up to the fifth step. Okay, now you can see that we have the staircase opened up. All right, we're back to the fifth step. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up to the fifth. That's pretty standard for us. We don't go much higher than that because the rosette and the receiving post area up here starts to get too close to the ceiling. All right, so that's why we stop right here at the nose of the fifth step. In case you're wondering why we don't go up any higher. That's just pretty much standard. You can go 6 steps, but I think 5 looks better when it's done. So there's our stairway opened up. And then I think that looks so much better than that hallway looking thing we had when we got here. All right, we just cut the wall out. We framed it down on the angle to match the steps, which in this case here was a 38-degree angle. And we'll have a null post down here at the end and our traditional handrail and spindles. So there's our obstacle number one, the stairway opened up. Okay, so here we have the finished stairway opened up. You can see we have our traditional 5-step high banister with the stained railing and newel post, the painted spindles. It's pretty much normal for us to paint the spindles and stain the handrail and the newel post. And if you can recall that hallway effect looking stairway we had when we got here, it's all nicely open now. When you come down to the bottom step, it opens up. I'm going to jump up these stairs here and show you that difference coming down. Now we're up here on the first landing, coming down from the stairs from the first floor. And when you get to the landing, you can already see that the stairway's open to the right. And it just changes the whole feel of the basement, opening this up like this. So any chance I can, I'll open up the basement staircase to at least the 5th step to get that dramatic look at the base of the steps. And it makes the basement that's finished seem less basementy. All right, it looks more like the rest of the house. So that was obstacle number one, opening up of the full wall at the base of the steps and putting in our 5-step banister. I think it turned out great. Okay, obstacle number two. At the base of the stairs, All right, coming down the steps here, back into the stairway here. You come down the steps and you're faced with these two columns here. These two columns are only about, I'm going to say, 6 feet away from the bottom of the steps in a not so desirable position, not so desirable space. Unfortunately, these two columns are holding up two sections of 8-inch steel beam. So they're not coming out. They can't come out because those steel beams are holding up the floor joist, which is holding up the first floor of the house. So they have to stay. So what we've decided to do is we're going to box these two columns out. I'm going to turn it into a small section of wall. It's an unfortunate situation, but it's something that we're faced with here, and the best way to do it is to put it in a small section of wall. Again, we wish it wasn't there, but this is one of those obstacles, and you may have one of these in your basement, where you just can't move the obstacle. You can't relocate it. We do a lot of relocating of these obstacles, but you can't relocate these. Obstacle number 2, the support poles. Okay, our next obstacle was the double column setup at the base of the steps. And you can see how we framed around those. We just built a 2x4 wall on each side. See, there's two individual 2x4 walls there that go right up underneath the soffit. And incidentally, we framed all this soffit overhead work first, and then we built these two walls up under our soffit. All right, and you know, we made the best of a bad situation there. We did manage to squeak in some outlets, one on this side of the wall and one on the other side. And we did put our triple gang box at the base of the stairs on that wall, so we do have some electric in that wall for the switches as well. So we utilized it the best we could with outlets and switches, and that hid those two poles, and that was really the only option we had there. Now we could have built a half wall between these walls and that wall right over there. We could have ran a half wall straight across here and connected it, and then just had this archway over here to get through to the other area. But the homeowners wanted to leave both sides of the columns open for traffic to walk through. But the other thing that you could have done there is you could have built one of our little 36 tall half walls there. All right, so that's obstacle number 2. That was the double columns at the base of the steps. We just boxed around it. Okay, and coming down the steps, we approach obstacle number 2, which was the double column, the double support column that was right at the base of the steps. You can see here's the base of the steps right here. It was only about 6 feet away. We had two columns. It couldn't have been in a worse place. So we elected to frame that out into a rectangular column. And again, we did put an outlet on the one side. And we've got our 3 switches at the base of the steps now on that column, and another outlet on the other side as well. So we made the best out of a bad situation here at the base of the steps. It really does not look that bad. There was no way that we could have removed those columns. So again, in this situation, we could have did a half wall from those columns over to that corner, but the homeowner wanted to keep it open because they had that theme in mind behind there with the table and the TV, and the half wall just would have obstructed the openness of that. So we boxed it out, framed it out, and we added some outlets and some switches, and we made the best of a bad situation. So there's obstacle number 2 completed, the 2 columns at the base of the stairs. Okay, obstacle number 3, another set of poles. We were just looking at those 2 over there at the base of the steps. Well, we've got 2 more right here that are holding up more steel. Again, we can't move these columns. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to box these out in some framing, and I'm going to have a bathroom location underneath this lower ductwork right here, where I'm going to build this ductwork into the ceiling inside the bathroom over top of the toilet. So what we're going to do is once we get those bathroom walls built, we're just going to make a little section of wall that's going to come off the bathroom wall, come out and swallow up these 2 columns. Okay, so again, we're going to hide the columns inside a section of wall, and that section of wall will just tail off the side of the bathroom wall. And that sounds confusing right now, but once we get it all framed up, I'll show you how we did it, and it'll make more sense to you. So obstacle number 3 is our second set of double columns right outside the bathroom location. We're going to box that out into like a little wing wall and hide them away inside framing. Okay, our next obstacle is the other set of poles that were down this end of the basement. Now what we did here, instead of just boxing around these like we did over here with those 2 columns, we extended the back side of the bathroom wall down far enough to go past the columns. You can see there's the columns there. All right, there's 2 of them in there. We built this wall down just past the edge of the columns. All right, and that neatened up the way that flows there. Now that bathroom wall just flows into those columns. All right, that was just a good design way to do that. One straight smooth wall. And then we wrapped around the columns with our framing. Okay, and we brought the other side of the 2 columns right back into the corner here, which again, this is the bathroom wall running this way. All right, we brought the framing back to the other side of the bathroom wall. All right, so we wrapped right around those and hid those 2 columns there by running our little walls, our little sections of framing back into the bathroom walls, and that swallowed those up. And as you can see, we also have a double box on here for our switches, and we put an outlet on there as well. All right, so that's how we hid obstacle number 3, our second set of double columns. We blended that framing into the bathroom wall going both ways, north and south and east and west. All right, as we pass that second obstacle, that first set of double columns, we head over to the other set of double columns, which is now inside that wall right there. As you recall, we extended the bathroom wall another couple feet to get out to this corner here to hide those 2 columns that are right inside that wall right there. Now we did use the wall for our switches. We did put an outlet in the bottom. And I think that was the best way to attack those 2 columns. There really was no other way that we could hide those other than extending those bathroom walls out a little bit to capture those 2 columns inside and make clean lines. And I really think that the clean lines turned out good. And by extending that bathroom wall at the bottom, we gave them a nice furniture backer there, which they got a hutch there right now, a set of drawers there. And that was the cleanest way that I could come up with to hide those that second set of columns. And you can see that the soffit overhead here, the soffit line kind of goes straight down and dies out into that wall. So it made sense with the edge of the soffit overhead as well. We're always thinking about the lines overhead when we're designing our walls. How's the ceiling going to tie into that? And I think that turned out real good. So that's how we hid the second set of double columns. And that was obstacle number 3. We put it inside extensions of the bathroom wall. Okay, obstacle number 4. If there was ever an obstacle, it's this one. All right, we've got the furnace over here. We've got duct trunk that comes across, and because of this steel beam up here, they had to come down and under the beam and back up on the other side, which you just don't see that too often. You just don't see that type of ductwork too often. This is something unique. And it took me a while to figure out how I was going to hide these 2 pieces of ductwork in this project, because again, these couldn't be relocated because we had to keep the air going from the furnace right down there, straight down the main trunk, the whole way down the length of the house. And that's my return air and my feed air trunks coming down and underneath that gray beam there. So what we're going to do is we're going to design those lower sections of ductwork, and I'm going to walk over here right now. This is only, the bottom of this right here is only about 6.5 feet up off the floor, so they're really super low too. So what we're going to do is we're going to design a lower ceiling just over top of the toilet inside the bathroom and hide that away inside our bathroom. And I'll show you what that looks like when I get it framed up. Again, you can't move this ductwork. It has to stay in that position. And that's the only way that I could design that into the project. I'm putting it inside the framing, inside the bathroom, right over top of the toilet. And I'll show you that framing when we get it done. So that's obstacle number 4, the super low ductwork underneath the steel beam. We're going to build it into a lower section of soffit right over top of the toilet. Obstacle number 5 was the ductwork that you see up inside that framing there that had to come below this gray steel beam. Pan the camera up in there. You can see there's that ductwork. We're going to step inside the bathroom now, and I'm going to show you what we did here. Now we framed a lower section. We positioned the bathroom so that right above the toilet, and that's the toilet flange down there that we put it in the floor, we positioned that ductwork right above our toilet flange, the back side of the bathroom, and we lowered the ceiling right over the commode. Okay, so right over the toilet, there's going to be a lower section of ceiling, and really that was the only way we could hide that. We knew we were going to put a powder room in this bathroom, a half bath, and there's the toilet there, and around the corner over here is going to be our 30-inch vanity right here. We knew we had to have a powder room in our design, so we designed this basement's bathroom to coordinate with that dropped piece of ductwork up there, which, and we're right underneath of it under here. You can see we just framed right underneath, crossed back over to the back wall behind the toilet, and lowered that section. All right, now you could have done a lot of other things there with that. You could have designed it so that there was a closet there. If you weren't doing a bathroom, you could have put that lower section of ceiling inside a closet. If you recall how terrible of a position that was in this basement, out here in the middle of this beautiful basement, we had that large section of ductwork that just didn't fit for anything. We couldn't design it any other way. We couldn't remove it. We couldn't change the position of it, because we had to get from the furnace all the way down there underneath this steel, because this ductwork, if I spin the camera around here, as you recall, runs the whole length of the basement. So there was no way to get rid of that lower ductwork. It had to pass underneath that steel. It had to go underneath that steel beam to get the air from the furnace the whole way down to the other end of the house. So we designed our bathroom, which is right there. We designed our bathroom and our ceiling over our toilet to hide that ductwork. All right, so that's how we hid away the ugly ductwork, the lower section of ductwork. We put it inside the ceiling in our bathroom. Okay, and then we had probably one of the worst obstacles of all down here was that lower section of ductwork. And we're going to have to walk over here to the bathroom and enter the bathroom to see exactly what we did with that. Now, if you look inside the bathroom door there, right up there is our lower section of soffit, which is hiding that set of duct trunk that came down almost 2 feet from the floor joist. Now, what we did is we designed it so that the toilet was right underneath that lower section of soffit. Now nobody's going to hit their head on it because we're all going to be sitting down onto the toilet, which is going to keep us from hitting our head on that. That actually is over top of the toilet ever so slightly so that it's not in harm's way. And that's only about 6'2" there to the bottom edge of that. There was nothing else we could have done with that except maybe put it in a closet or something like that, but we designed it into our bathroom. And I'll just step in here. We can shoot back on that. So the bathroom's about 4 feet wide here. We made it nice and wide. And there we had that lower section right there. And that was the section of ductwork that went underneath the steel beam. So that might help you guys out with some ideas for a section of soffit in your basement. Ductwork that's just ridiculously low. You can either put it in a situation like this, or the other favorite way to do that would be to put that inside of a closet. Obstacle number 4, the low ductwork under the beam. All right, obstacle number 5 Now this one here, I have to tell you, this one really sucks, guys. We've got a 3-inch sewage lateral, a piece of sewage line coming on a 45-degree angles right through what's going to be our future walk-up bar slash kitchenette area. All right, it's about 10 inches down from the bottom of the floor joist. It's hanging super low, and again, it cuts straight across our future kitchen area. All right, so you may have some of this sewage pipe in your basement. It might be PVC like this, it might be cast iron. We all have some of this stuff in the basement in a position that we really don't want it to be. And this one is definitely in a super bad location. I don't want it to be here. The homeowners don't want it to be here. This is supposed to be a nice high ceiling inside my kitchenette area. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, we're going to cut this pipe back up over top of this water heater here, right up in there where it starts to 45 there. We're going to cut it back up in here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to just continue it. You can see it's running straight along the wall right there. We're going to continue that straight down the wall, right in front of the window, down into that corner, around, and then when we get back up to that spot right up there, we're going to reconnect it. So we're going to get it totally out of the middle of the room here, and we're going to run it along the masonry wall, right up in front of the window, right back over and tie in, right back up in there. Okay, where it starts to 45 there. We're going to reconnect it up in there. All right, so that's some relocation work. It's a pain in the butt. Nobody wants to do it. You may be looking at that and saying, there's just no way I would ever attempt anything like that. I'm not a plumber. If it's something that you don't feel comfortable with, call a plumber. Show them what you want done and have them relocate it. This is not a big deal for a plumber. This is probably an hour job for a good plumber to come out, maybe 2 hours, depending upon what else he has to do. But it's not a huge project. But if you want to attempt it yourself, I mean, we have plumbing videos, guys. I show you how to cut into these PVC sewage lines and buy the fittings and do the work yourself. It's not rocket science. This isn't brain surgery. We're just moving a piece of pipe from point A to point B. So obstacle number 5, we're going to get rid of this 45-degree piece of 3-inch sewage lateral that's right out in the middle of our ceiling, reconnect it along the wall, and get it totally out of the scope of work here so that we have a nice high ceiling in our kitchen area here, in our kitchenette area here. All right, so that's obstacle number 5. The 45-degree 3-inch sewage lateral pipe. We're going to be relocating it. Okay, as you recall, we had a 45-degree 3-inch piece of sewage line that came right over top of that water heater, straight across the ceiling on a 45, just in a terrible position. What we decided to do was we ran it around. I'm going to have to pull some insulation out here to show you. But we're up inside this wall here. Okay, we ran it straight down into that corner and around, keeping it tight to our exterior wall. Okay, and we can look inside here, and there's that pipe right up in there. Okay, so we redid it, we cut into it, we reconnected to it, and you can see it coming around there. And we brought it down here, and then we reconnected it right there. Right there, we put a fitting on and reconnected it. All right, so, that took a little bit of time. That was probably a good 2 hours worth of labor on that. We had to go out and buy some 3-inch pipe at Home Depot and a couple fittings. But we managed to get that pipe totally out of our ceiling in here so we could have a nice high ceiling in this area. And we're going to have an L-shaped kitchenette area here. All right, and we wanted the area out in front of the cabinets to be one nice flat high ceiling. All right, so that's how we got away with that obstacle there. That's how we hid that obstacle, rather. We just went and cut the 45-degree section out and replaced it with 2 nice straight pieces of 3-inch, and we came right around on a 9-degree angle in that corner and brought it right down and reconnected it down here by the beam. Sometimes you just have to move obstacles that are in your way. There's just no creative way to work around them, so you have to move them. And that's what we did in that situation. Obstacle number 5 was the sewage lateral pipe that started over here
and came right across our little kitchenette area here in the worst position possible. As you recall, we cut it so that it wasn't coming across on a 45 anymore, and we ran it behind the wall, behind the refrigerator, and then right behind the cabinet wall, and then we tied in up here in this corner. And what that did is it opened up our ceiling for maximum height. We got a nice high ceiling in this whole little kitchen area here. Now these clients here, they like to experiment with making different types of microbrews, beer, and this is going to be like their little test laboratory in the little area where they're going to make their beer and share it with friends and family. It's also, you can see there, pretty much a bar setup here. They've got the glass doors on the cabinets and the bottles up there and everything. Turned out real nice. So this is just kind of like a beer tasting, wine tasting, beverage area. And it wouldn't have looked half as nice if we would have had to try to lower the ceiling below that piece of 3-inch sewage pipe that came across there. We would have had to drop the ceiling in there. Oh my gosh, probably a foot and a half. Now we've got full height ceiling because we eliminated that obstacle by cutting it off. And we can go inside this closet here and refresh our memory. Up inside here, I don't know how well you can see that up in there, but up in there we did some surgery where we cut the pipe and sent it behind the wall. And again, right over top of that sink there used to be a window. And we went right in front of the window, which we eliminated, right around behind the bar cabinets, inside the wall, and reconnected up here. So that was obstacle number 5, the 3-inch sewage lateral pipe that was more or less ruining an entire area of our project. We elected to cut it and relocate it. All right, obstacle number 6. Obstacle number 6 is the 8-inch gray steel beam that's running from the backyard wall. Right, this is the back of the house right there. It runs the whole way across, the whole way down, the whole way across the basement to the front wall, to the front of the house. All right, so that's about a 30-foot piece of 8-inch steel there running the whole way across the basement. All right, that's obstacle number 6. Now that is a simple one to work around. We're going to put a soffit across there. We're just going to box that beam out and we're going to put it in drywall. You box it out and you put it in a small soffit and you drywall it. All right, so that's obstacle number 6, the 30-foot 8-inch gray steel beam that's out there in the middle of everything. We're going to make that look good in a nice straight 30-foot section of soffit. Okay, now our other obstacle that we had here was the steel beam, which ran from this side of the basement all the way across to this side of the basement. All right, this was a simple fix. All we did is we built a soffit. You can see we built a soffit ladder on each side of the steel. Okay, and then we crossed it over underneath, and now that beam will just get boxed out in drywall and corner bead. All right. Turned out we had, a section of that steel beam on this side of the basement in front of our kitchenette. And on this side, that beam continued over. We did the same exact thing here. We built a soffit ladder on both sides. And you can see them running down there. Put a couple stabilizer blocks in the middle just to keep both of the soffit ladders nice and solid. Okay. And we just lowered it enough that we could get underneath the steel with our blocking. All right, so that's how we hid away the 8-inch steel beam that ran from one side of the basement clear down to the other side. We just boxed it out inside a soffit. All right, our next obstacle was that beam that went from the rear wall of the house. We're looking out the back door there. This is an exposed basement. That beam went from the back of the house the whole way through to the front of the house. It picks up again over here. And you can see it running right across there. We just boxed that out. We ran soffit ladders on both sides, and we hid that up inside a nice beam soffit, and we just walked under it there. And you can see how clean that is, how crisp that turned out. It doesn't look bad. We've got the high ceiling over here in the kitchenette bar area. Then we drop underneath the beam that we boxed out with the soffit, and then right back up into a high ceiling out here in this little gathering area where we have a television and a table here. So I think that beam turned out real nice. We'll step around the other side here and we can pick that up on the other side. Again, we just built the soffit ladders on both sides of the steel, which we showed you in the framing section of this video. Yeah, the drywall just corner beaded that, and it turned out nice and clean. High ceiling on this side, drop underneath the beam, and then back up into a full ceiling on this side. So that's how we hid away the 8-inch steel beam that ran from the front of the house to the back of the house. We just put it inside a beam design soffit. Okay, now obstacle number 7, we talked about it a little bit here when we talked about this lower section of ductwork here, but obstacle number 7 is the main duct trunk, the feed trunk and the return air trunk from the furnace the whole way down the length of the house, all the way up to the other end down there past the stairs. We're going to put that in our main trunk soffit. You've seen me do this in a lot of other videos, so this might be a repeat if you've seen other ones, but the main trunk is going to go in one straight shot of soffit the whole way down the basement right back to the furnace wall. All right, so obstacle number 7, the main duct trunk, we're going to put that in one straight 30-foot long soffit. Okay, the main duct trunk. As you recall, the furnace was up this end of the basement. It was just sitting out here by itself beside the water heater. We can now access the furnace from inside the bathroom. There's a 30-inch door on this side of the bathroom, which will be right beside our vanity location over there. All right, we can open up that door and service that furnace right there. But the main duct trunk, and this is the return air and this is the feed air trunk, went completely from the furnace here up this end of the basement all the way down. You can see it over top of my head here inside the bathroom, all the way down to the other end of the basement. And guys, the best way to do that is just build a soffit and around all of it. Now I did want to point out here that my soffit is a straight line. All right, it starts here and goes straight down to the other end of the basement. It's not in and out. All right, I could have made it less down here because you see when I get down here, I just have a small 10-inch piece of duct trunk here for about 8 feet. Now some guys will reduce the outside of their soffit back in right up against the side of that there and say, well, I'll have a higher ceiling. I don't need it to be all the way out here because there's nothing up in here. As you can see, there's about 30 inches where there's nothing up in there. You could have built it over tight to the ductwork, but that to me looks like, you know, you're trying to hide ductwork. I like to keep my soffit lines straight. Now this is about 30 feet long here down to the other end there, but it's straight. I'm not one for coming in and reducing it when it starts to get smaller and have my soffit shrink in size. I don't think it looks good. I think from the elevation, from an architectural standpoint, it looks better just to have a straight line from one end of the room to the other. And forget about all that reducing nonsense. All right, so that's how we hid our main duct trunk. We put it inside a nice, straight, crisp, 30-some foot soffit. That'll get drywalled and it'll have corner bead put on it. And obstacle number 7 was the main duct trunk, which ran the length of the house. You can see I'm running my camera and finger along that right now. It ran the whole way down. It hit the bathroom wall there, and then it picks up again in the bathroom. We still had to build the bathroom ceiling down to match that. As you can see, there it is right there. We kind of run across, and then we poke into the bathroom here, and we're still underneath that soffit right in here. And then that soffit ran the whole way down. I'll open up this door here. Ran the whole way down right to the AC unit, which was right at the end here. And if we look up in there, you can see there is the ductwork that begins its journey into the bathroom ceiling and down the bathroom ceiling and right out into the main room and all the way down to the other end. We put that inside a framed soffit, and as you can see from the before, the dooring rather, what we had to duck underneath there, it turned out real nice and clean. So that's how we hid our main duct trunk in this particular project, and that's how we hide it in all of our projects. We put it inside a soffit. Obstacle number 8. This is a common one. You've seen me do this one before, but
Let's do it again, guys. We got a furnace, and right directly beside it we have a big old gas-fired water heater. And we're going to be leaving those utilities right where they're located. Not going to be moving anything, but we are going to be putting them in an unfinished storage utility closet. And we'll be able to get to the furnace from inside the bathroom. There'll be a door inside the bathroom that we can open where we can change the furnace out if we needed to replace the furnace, change the filter, work on all the different parts that need worked on from inside the bathroom. And the water heater, well, that's going to have a closet door outside of the bathroom that'll open up, and when you go inside you'll be able to operate on that water heater, swap it out, change it in the future if need be, work on all the gas connections from inside that unfinished storage utility door as well. Alright, so the furnace and the water heater are going to be put inside an unfinished storage utility closet. Okay, this basement had mechanicals. It had a gas, water heater, and a furnace. You can see we built a little utility closet here, and inside that utility closet you'll find that same large gas water heater. It's unfinished in here. We didn't put any drywall in there. We're not planning on framing in there. We're not putting any finished flooring in there. It's still going to look just like it looks. But that's inside a utility closet. All right. So out here in the kitchen area, which I'm standing in right here, this is the little kitchen area. Outside in the kitchen area, there'll be a 32-inch door to open up to service the water heater. And if I walk around the bathroom here, go back inside the bathroom, you'll find another door inside the bathroom, which is also a 32-inch door, that we can open up and we can service the furnace. We can change the filter in the furnace. We can replace the furnace if we need to. All right? But inside there, it's all unfinished. But when that door is shut there, and the door on the other side of the wall over here to the water heater is shut, they look like two nice finished matching doors that match the rest of the house. And everything, all the mechanicals are just neatly hidden away inside there. All right, so that's our furnace and water heater inside unfinished utility closets. Okay, and obstacle number 8, that was our mechanical stuff. We had a water heater and a furnace, and we put it into two different halves of the same closet. If we step over here into the little kitchen area and open up this door, we can see that we can service the water heater from this closet on this side. We can get in here and work on the water heater and change it if we have to. We also have the condensation pump down there and some shut-off valves up in there and a bladder tank and whatnot, all that stuff in this closet. And close that one up there. And then we have to walk all the way around to the other side of the bathroom to get to the other side of that mechanical dilemma. And inside the bathroom, inside this door right here, inside the bathroom, we have the furnace. And we can get in here and we can change the filter. And we can get to all the stuff that we need to get to inside here. All right, so that's the second way into that utility area. And in between here, you can see there's a sewage ejector down on the floor there. We put that in to run the bathroom for this project, but we really can't access it from this closet door here either. So what we're going to do is we're going to back out of the bathroom, close this door. We're going to walk back out into the main area and into another closet, which is a finished closet, where the homeowners can store whatever they want in here. And then through another door inside this closet, we can get into that sewage ejector area. And if we pan right over there, there's the door that opens up into the bathroom right here. All right, that's back into the bathroom there, but we really can't get to this area from the bathroom, so we made another access inside this closet to get to the sewage ejector. If we ever have to change the sewage ejector pump, or the check valve, or the ball valve, or service anything to do with the bathroom sewage ejection system, we can get to it from inside this closet. So that's how we managed our way around the utilities on this project, through several different doors back into that unfinished utility area. Okay, obstacle number 9 is the water meter. which is right back here in this little room here. And right beside it is the sewage lateral, the big 4-inch sewage lateral. That's going all the way out to the public sewage in the street. And then we've got the public water coming in right through the wall here to the meter. All this stuff here is going to be put inside an unfinished closet inside what's going to become a little yoga room in here. We're inside a little tiny room off to the corner here of the basement. Pan around there. It's not very wide. It's about 11 feet wide that way by 10 feet coming back this way here. And over on that side of this little room, there's going to be a finished door, and inside there you'll find those two utilities, and you'll be able to get in there and service that through that door. The other way that you can do these is you can just build the wall across there. You can put some larger 13 by 13 removable access panels, plumber access panels. You could put one there for the meter and the shutoff handle, and you could put another one right beside it to take off and access that clean out cap. Other than that, there's really nothing else that you have to access on that entire wall. So you could either do the door or the 13 by 13 access panels, which you've seen me use in other videos. All right, so that's obstacle number 9. The lateral clean out cap and the water meter. Our next obstacle was our water meter and our sewage lateral clean out cap. Now you can see we just framed around the sewage cap right here. Got the insulation around it. It's going to be accessible through a small 6x9 access panel that we're going to put in the drywall. You'll just open up the drywall hatch there. You'll just pop the lid off that access panel, and that cap will be right behind there to be serviced if anybody ever has to snake out the main line. We're also going to have our water meter, which is right behind this insulation here. Let me pull that out of here. Back inside there, you can see we have our main shutoff. Controls the water flow from the house. Here's the water coming in right here from the street. That's the main water line in. There's your main shutoff. That'll be accessible here, as well as the water meter will be able to be read and serviced as well. Now we're going to have a 13 by 13 access panel right here that we'll be able to take off. They come off real quick, just they're spring loaded, and inside you'll find these two items. All right, so we're hiding our water meter and our water meter shutoff and our sewage lateral clean out cap inside plumber access panels. And that's how we worked around those obstacles. Nothing real fancy there. And I'll show you what those finished access panels look like in the final segment of this video. Okay, and obstacle number 9 was the water meter. Now if we walk back into the aerobic area, which is this room back in here, as you recall, we made some holes in the drywall where we can just remove that 13 by 13 panel or this little 9 by 9 panel, and there's another one up there behind all them access panels, and they're just plumber's access panels. You can buy those at Home Depot. That's a 13 by 13, these are 9 by 9, and it's real simple. You just cut the drywall out, and I pop that big 13 by 13 panel off there, and inside here you can see we've got the shutoff handle for the main water coming in from the street, right inside there. On the other side over here, we've got the water meter. All right, so we still have access to these items. Real simple to get to. These are items that you're never going to have to get to all that often, but if you do need to, you can just purchase these access panels with the spring-loaded clips on the back, cut the hole in the drywall, and then all you do is you just spring that clip into the hole in the drywall cutout. Let's see if I can do this here. Hook it on there, slide it up, drop it in, tap it on there. All right, for as often as you're ever going to have to get in there, rather than putting a full-size 6-panel door in there like we did for some of the other items in the basement that we needed to get to, these access panels are really easy to install. It's just cut the drywall and slip them in there. All right, it's a necessary evil in the basement. You have to be able to get to these shutoffs and those meters, and if you have to, they're behind those access panels.
And that's really the best way that I know how to get to that stuff that needs to be gotten to in the future. We have one more up there, and behind that one there is actually a shutoff for an outside hose spigot. So we've got 3 of them in this exercise room. So that's how we got around those obstacles. We used the spring-loaded plumber's access panels. Obstacle number 10 is this double 2-inch PVC vent line. That's the gas vent line from the furnace. You can see these 2 pieces of 2-inch coming across and up and across, and then they turn, they go back outside through the wall up there. They're hanging down about 10 inches there, maybe 8 inches. And right beside it, we've got another piece of this ugly old flex ductwork that runs right across here as well. Now this space where those 2 white doors are sitting, that whole space there all the way over to the furnace is going to be a closet. And these pipes are right above that closet space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lower the ceiling, the entire ceiling, inside that closet area that'll be right there, and just put all that up inside the ceiling in the closet. Inside closets, I'm not too concerned about super height. It's a closet. So if I can get at least 7 feet, 7'2", 7'3" in height inside a closet to hide obstacles above the closet ceiling, I'm going to do it every time. So instead of relocating any of those mechanical things there, instead of relocating that ductwork or trying to relocate those gas lines, I'm just going to simply lower the ceiling inside the closet. When you come inside from the outside door, inside that closet, I'm just going to lower the ceiling in there about 10 inches, and that'll hide all that stuff away nicely up inside the drywall ceiling in the closet. So obstacle number 10, the flex duct and the gas lines above our closet. We're just going to lower the ceiling in the closet and put them up inside the drywall ceiling. Okay, as you recall, we had some furnace vent lines and some ductwork over in this corner that were going to be in our way, because this is a closet right here inside our back door. When you come in, there's a 36-inch door that goes into a nice closet. It's about 4 feet deep. Up above this closet, we had some flex duct. You can see it up in there. And we also had 2 vent lines, 1, 2 up in there. So what we did is we just lowered the ceiling. Come around here. We lowered the ceiling. There's our framing inside this closet, and up in there our flex ducts right above these 2x4s. All right, as well as our vent lines, all up inside our little ceiling. And we went ahead and put a 6-inch recessed light up in there as well inside this closet. All right, so if you have obstacles overhead and you're in an area where you can just lower the whole ceiling, and in this case inside a closet, that's what you do. You just band around with your 2x4 framing and then cross over every 16 inches or so, and you'll hang a little drywall ceiling in there, and that takes care of those obstacles. So there's how we hid the flex duct and the vent lines back in this corner, up inside our lowered ceiling. Okay, now obstacle number 10 was the vent lines from the furnace that were going to the outside of the house. And what we did was, out here in this big area, we got like an 8.5-foot ceiling. Back here in this closet where we needed to hide those things, which is right up in the ceiling by that light there, we just lowered the ceiling inside here. Up inside this ceiling right here, we just lowered the ceiling down and we softened it off. We really just lowered the ceiling. And if I open this door here, we can still see the vent pipes. We can pan up in here. There they are right there. And you can see right there, pipe 1, pipe 2 are going right up above the ceiling, which is right in here. All right, this is the closet that we just walked through. We're up above that ceiling right there. All right, real simple. It doesn't matter if the ceiling's low in a closet. Who cares? It's probably about 7'2" in here. As you can see, it's just about 2 inches higher than the door trim there. But that's okay. We're inside a closet and we hid away those pipes. So that was one of our obstacles that we had to go around. And all we did was we lowered the ceiling inside the closet to hide those pipes. Okay, and our last obstacle, obstacle 11,
It's back here in the yoga area. If you look overhead here, you can see we've got a return air duct trunk, a piece of flex duct trunk right beside one another, and actually another piece of flex duct coming down and around and just hanging out there in the middle of our nice little yoga area. And we're not doing any drop ceilings on this job, we're doing all drywall. So what we're going to do is we're going to be doing some relocating here. This duct trunk here that goes in and across the middle of our yoga ceiling, you can see it up there going down and turning and going back. We're going to be moving that over tight to these two items beside the return air duct trunk and the flex duct. We're going to move it over tight, strap it back tight, and then we're going to build a soffit down this wall here that's going to take care of all these obstacles here. We're going to run it the whole way down. It's going to swallow up this, it's going to swallow up the flex duct, and at the very end down here, it's even going to swallow up this gas manifold that's up here in the corner. This gas manifold that's up here in the corner has got 3 red handles, 3 shutoffs. That all needs accessed, but it also all needs hidden away in the drywall. So we're just going to build one soffit that's going to capture all these utilities coming down here, straight down and right in front of those gas manifold pipes there. All right, so there's going to be about 11-foot piece of ductwork that's going to come about 2 foot off the wall that's going to swallow up all that stuff. All right, so it's going into soffit. Okay, and our final obstacles back here in the exercise area, actually going to be a little yoga room back here. As you recall, up in this corner here, we had some gas shutoffs. You can see all the little red handles up there. Again, we're going to be having a 13 by 13 spring-loaded access panel right up here in this little soffit. As you can see, we lowered that section of our ceiling inside a soffit here, which swallowed up those 2 yellow gas lines and this flex duct and a piece of return ductwork. They were all up along that wall there. So we just boxed them out in the soffit, and at the same time we brought this soffit ladder here. All right, the soffit ladder is a thing there that looks like a ladder going down the side. We brought the soffit ladder out past our gas pipes and gas shutoffs too. So we killed two birds with one stone right there. And again, we'll just have a spring-loaded 13 by 13 plumber access panel up in this corner in the bottom of this soffit that we can open up at any time to service and turn those gas lines on and off if need be. Okay, and our final obstacle was back here in the yoga room. As you recall, we had a gas manifold in here. We also had some flex duct up in there and a return air duct trunk up in there. And we hid those all the way inside a nice clean soffit. I'll step into this room here. We'll shut this door. Turned into a nice little exercise room here with that French door. I really like that French door. But up inside there, from that corner of the room all the way across over to here, is all those mechanicals. And up in here, inside that access panel there, which I'm not going to take down because I just showed you those other access panels. But if you spring load that off there, up inside there you'll find the gas manifold shutoffs, which controls the flow of the gas to the appliances and the rest of the house. That's just inside one of those same exact plumber access panels that we just looked at over on this side of the room, where we had 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we had 4 of them. We had 4 of those plumber access panels right inside this little yoga room here, which turned out awesome. We do have a little window in this room right here, and the light transfusing from that window comes across and goes right through that French door there and sends a little more daylight out into the basement. So anytime you can use these French doors to your advantage to transfuse light, they're awesome. They only cost maybe $100 more than a standard door. They look great. Aesthetically, they look great, and they do transfuse a lot of light. Okay, so there's our finished product. 11 obstacles, each one different from the next. I'm hoping that through these 11 obstacles and me filming the before, during, and after, it sparks something up here, something in your project that you've been thinking about
and you just haven't been able to overcome with a solution, maybe this will spark something good and you'll say, now I've got the solution to my problem. Now I know what I'm going to do to go around that obstacle in my basement, which is the reason I make these videos to begin with, to help you with your basement project. I'm Eddie Case. If you like this video, please hit the like button. It helps out our channel. And if you haven't subscribed to my Basement Finishing Man YouTube channel, please do. I got a lot more good basement finishing videos coming your way to help you with your basement project. And I'll see you in the next video.